It's another battle for the Aggies, and the KSL Sports Zone has it covered. The Aggies head south to Las Vegas for a Saturday afternoon showdown against UNLV. Your home for all the play-by-play coverage of Aggie football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, as we get you ready for Utah and Baylor.
So, could it help or hurt anything with Mark Harlan on that committee? If Utah, if they finish out the season 3-0, and let's say they don't make it to the Big 12 championship game, they remove him from that side of the equation, right?
So if there's a school that you're involved in and you work at that's being discussed, you have to leave the room, like banish from the room. Now, that's the politically correct answer. Now, these guys are also going to lunch together. They're going to dinner together. They're hanging out together. So while they may not be in a room, do you think they still have some influence? You're darn right they do. And I know BYU fans are like, well, wait a minute. We don't like where this is going either. Because not only can he promote Utah, but he can also say some negative things about our school. Now, I don't know if Mark Harlan's that kind of guy. But who knows?
Here's the deal. It could be a real sticky situation.
Yeah. So Mark Harlan now is on the college football playoff committee.
Good.
All right, Nick Florence getting you ready for Utah and Baylor as we get you what should be a really fun game between these two teams. Utah has just been on a roll after that BYU loss. Nick, how you doing?
Hey, Nick.
I'm doing great. I'm glad to have you guys in Waco on Saturday.
Well, you know what? It's interesting how my buddy's a big Utah fan, and he's saying I can never get my wife to go with me on road trips, but for some reason she was all about the trip to Waco, and everybody wants to go to the farm. Everybody wants to see the silo. So I think there's a lot of Utah fans who'll be like, all right, fine. Now I get to make a trip, just if it means I have to spend a few hours at a place I really don't want to be at.
Yeah, no, it's fun that you say that. And I think what people discover, obviously, when they get here, yes, it's fun to see the silos if you're a big Chip and Joe fixer-upper fan. But, I mean, Waco's just a gem, quite honestly. It's a college town, but it's also a little bigger than a college town. It's nestled between Austin and Dallas on I-35, and it's just a great place. And then, obviously, McLean, just right there on the Brazos River. It's an incredible football environment.
So, give me the best indicator. Is this the team that just beat UCF 30-3, or is this the team that lost back-to-back games to TCU and Cincinnati? Because I can't figure out who this Baylor team is.
Well, that makes two of us then. I hope it's the team that played UCF a few weeks ago. It's crazy when you think about this year and the expectations that the guys had, within the locker room, not just externally. But the way they finished 2024, there was a lot of high hopes. And the reality is it's a really talented team. And we really haven't played complementary football all year. And protecting the ball has been a challenge for us. And then defensively, it's just like, man, there's moments in the game where you look good, and there's a lot of moments you don't. And then all of a sudden, against UCF, you just kind of put it all together. Against a team that was rather hot at the moment, played Cincinnati real close, and then walloped West Virginia, and so I hope it's the team that played 2 weeks ago at McLean Stadium, and we're in for a real treat Saturday night if so.
So I got to know Dave Aranda a little bit when he was at Utah State as the defensive coordinator up there, and obviously great defensive mind. So it's a little surprising that the defense hasn't been up to Dave Aranda's standards. Why would you? Is there a thing you can point to as to why they may have struggled on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean it's a great question. I think in Dave's words, I think a lot of it comes down to execution. I think they're talking about the right things, and the players aren't executing. And it seemed like maybe they changed some things up going into that UCF game. I think we all understand as individuals that have watched a lot of football. Players that think play slow, players that react play fast. And so I think as coaches, it's their job to how do you get your players to stop thinking and start reacting. And so something switched that week against UCF, and the defense was flying around. And when you fly around and you hustle, there's two things that really happen. One, you create turnovers, and then two, you get holding penalties called against you or against the offensive line, against the defensive line. And so both those things showed up against UCF. If we're going to be successful against the Utes on Saturday night, our defense has got to be flying around. They can't be thinking. They've got to be reacting and creating turnovers and getting some holding penalties against probably the stoutest running game in the Big 12 and one of the best in the nation.
Just give me your overall thoughts on Sawyer Robertson's performance to this point. How reliable, how good, how much of a leader, or the lack thereof. Just kind of give me your overall thoughts on Sawyer.
Yeah, man, I'm real high on Sawyer. First and foremost, just a great individual, great kid, great character. Faith is in the right place. It's not about him. He wants to make those around him better. And I think you've kind of seen some ups and downs this year. And when he is playing free and just, hey, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do my best to get the ball where it needs to go on time and not try to do too much, he's really, really good. I think in his struggles this year, I think he's put the weight of the team on his shoulders. And the reality is football's a team game, and you're not meant to carry that weight by yourself for 60 minutes. And so I'm really hoping that UCF game, he seemed to just let it fly and let his eyes feed what he needs to do with his arm and the trajectory of that ball. But when he goes out, he's playing free and is not putting the weight of the team on his shoulders. Man, he's a special player, and his numbers have shown that at times. And so, incredible leader, truly cares about the success of his teammates more than the success of his own stats. But I think sometimes, he wants to do so well, he can be his own worst enemy.
Is there been a turning of the page, so to speak, at running back? Caden Knighton had the really good game against Central Florida, the freshman. Is he starting to emerge and maybe take a little bit more ownership role on that team?
Yeah, Bryson, obviously, I mean, he's a pounder of a running back and has been beat up at different times. I think in a perfect world, he's still taking the heavy share. But, man, has it been fun to watch Caden Knighton this year and really watch him grow up in front of us over the last 9 games. And you could tell early on he's dynamic and he's got speed. And but what he has learned through some unfortunate plays at times is, hey, this isn't high school football anymore. You're not the fastest one on the field all the time. And so it's been neat as he's learned, and those young guys want to make cuts and bounce it and go backwards and outrun guys. The college game is different than that. And so making your cuts, but making them moving vertically and not horizontally. And he really showed out against UCF and did that at a high level. And so I love, he's a dynamic player, and it's been fun watching him grow up. And that's part of the fun of the game is you watch these guys and a true freshman do what he's done. It'll be interesting to see how it shapes up on Saturday.
How good has the home field advantage been this year for Baylor?
Say that again.
How good has the home field advantage been for Baylor this year? Just playing in that stadium, playing in front of that crowd. Do they seem to rise more to the occasion, or do you feel like it hasn't mattered much?
That's an interesting question. There's times where it's like, yes, there's a level of routine and comfortableness at home. And again, we played our best game last week against UCF, but then there's times at home where we make a lot of mistakes. And I think that just goes back to, hey, are we going to be the team that showed up against Cincinnati or TCU or Arizona State, or are we going to come out and dominate? McLean Stadium, when it is rocking, is a tough place to play. And so we've also had a lot of early games at McLean. And so I think our team is excited. I think our fan base is really excited about a 6 p.m. kick at night at McLean Stadium. We're hosting you guys as the 13th ranked team in the CFP. I think it's going to be a tough environment. I never played at McLean Stadium. When I played here, it was at Floyd Casey, but man, when you're on the sideline and the place is rocking, it's intimidating. And it's an incredible football environment.
So when you look at this Utah team, what do you expect to see from the Utes coming into this game, and what is Baylor planning on seeing in this game?
Yeah, I mean, top to bottom, the Utes they're stout. At the end of the day, and obviously, the Texas Tech game, throw that out. They played BYU really close. But they're big boys, man, and they're going to ground and pound it on you. 267 yards of offense on the ground. At the end of the day, over 4 quarters, that wears on you. And so the defense has a really tall task, and where we've struggled defensively this year is stopping a running quarterback, which the Utes obviously key on that really, really well as a part of their run game strength. And then I think on the flip side, man, the defense has been stout. The passing yards given up in a game are extremely low. I think leading the Big 12, if I've got my stat right, and which has been the strength of our team. And so it's an interesting chess match for Baylor. We've got to be able offensively to break the man coverage, and you break that in one of two ways. Either you break it through the air and get some big plays. But if you can pop a run and get through the front 7, you're running for a long time. And so you got to do something to get the defense to loosen up. And so that's the big challenge offensively. And then as going back to the run game, defensively, you got to stop the run and you got to slow the quarterback down. And it comes down to those keys on both sides of the ball.
So, Nick, I call the color for BYU. So I'm headed out to Cincinnati in 2 weeks. And I put out a tweet that said, for every sack that Utah and BYU put up this weekend, I pledge to eat as many cheese coney 3-way Skyline chili dogs as there are sacks. A little bit worried about this. Talk about the Baylor front, their ability to protect Sawyer, because as you know, it's a really good Utah pass rush.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. There's times I think, the biggest thing, and this is what I always say to folks, like, you're referencing sacks, but you don't even have to get sacks to rattle a quarterback, right? Like, if you can get him to speed the clock up, then you've done your job. Obviously, a sack is what you want from a defensive standpoint, but that's my biggest concern for the Bears offense is are they going to be able to protect enough to where Sawyer doesn't have to speed the clock up? If he's having to make throws a half a second to a second before he wants to make it, then the Utah front's done their job. And at times that's been some of our kryptonite, and that game speeds up for the quarterback. And then you think there's always a rush. And so I think that's what Utah does really, really well. And ultimately they end up getting quite a few sacks out of it. But the O-line has a tall task in front of them this week.
When you get some of the your old teammates together, do you remind RJ3 that you broke his single season record?
Not at all. It's kind of like guys that he's got the one up in everything, right? Like, yeah. He's got the trophy. Yeah. So like, there's no need.
It's like, well, I got this thing called a Heisman. Yeah. A
Heisman. I did get to help for a half of football, help him win that in 2011. But, it was actually fun. We're all over the place. We've got families and work, and we're all scattered. But the Auburn game this year, when we opened the season, Griff was calling that game for Fox. And then Bryce Petty was being honored on the field that night. And then Seth Russell, who was right after Bryce, does some tailgate pregame stuff for us. And so we were all four in the same room for the first time in, 12, 15 years.
That's awesome.
Which was really cool.
Well, I'm going back and looking at your numbers. In that year where you had 4,300 yards passing, you also had nearly 600 yards rushing.
Look at you, Nick.
And 10 touchdowns on the ground. And Utah's got Devin Dampier, who we've been talking a lot about. He tries to stay healthy, but and he wants to run the football. He's a dynamic runner. But where do you draw that line between being aggressive offensively, but also, trying to be smart and not getting your guy hurt? How did you walk that line as a quarterback?
Well, one, I was not near as athletically gifted as Dampier or RG3, and so I knew my limitations. And for me, it's really about getting what you can get, and then you've got to avoid the direct hit. Like, to stay healthy, if you consistently are getting directly hit, that's where guys get hurt. And relaxing and again, hey, if I can fall this way, he just gets my shoulder and momentum rather than squaring me up. But down in distance and where you are at the game and what's on the line also comes into play. And so I think, as with all great competitors, you're willing to throw your body on the line at the right time when it matters in a game. And so obviously he's a talented player. And but as they say, Scott Droog has this phrase, and now I'm going to blank it as we're on air, but the best players are the ones that are available. But there's a phrase to it, and now I'm forgetting it. So, but you got to be available to be great, and so that's the key to all this as quarterbacks.
How does Mr. Morris treat you in the booth? Is he a good one to work with?
Dude, he's a pro. I mean, let's be honest. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this before. I'm 9 games in. I'm getting more comfortable as each game goes along, but he makes it so easy. He's such a pro, and it's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. I never thought I'd ever be doing something like this, and so it's a neat experience.
When you look across the state and you see Texas Tech throwing money around and Texas A&M always will throw money around, how's Baylor competing, and what's the vibe there in Waco on trying to maybe not keep up, but at least stay in the same zip code as some of these schools?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a lot of ways we're doing well, and in a lot of ways it's challenging, like it is for the vast majority of programs. Tech's in a unique situation given Cody Campbell and kind of where things were and what they were able to get done before July 1 this last year. A&M and Texas and those guys are always gonna have resources. I think at the end of the day, it comes back to, hey, we're competing at a high level. I really do believe that in terms of the NIL game, but we also can't lose who we are. And we've won before. And I won't point fingers, but there's always been paying of players.
Yeah.
I think we at smaller schools will always say that about the bigger schools. But we've won before, and so it's about developing guys. It's about getting the most out of your players. And so can we continue to do that at a high level? I think we can. I think Baylor has a lot to offer. Where we're located geographically, the facilities are second to none. And then the institution caring about you first and foremost as a person. It's special. It was transformational for me and so many of my teammates, and it will continue to do that for so many student athletes moving forward.
Well, Nick, we appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out with us. Have a great call, and look forward to catching up with you again down the line.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
You got it. Nick Florence, color analyst, Baylor Bears. That was a fun conversation. That dude was a player.
Jeez, 4,500 yards
through
the air?
4,300 through the air, 600 on the ground.
It's a good season.
Yep.
Like I said, RG3's got the one thing.
He's like, well, you may have my record for most yards in a season, but I have this bronze statue over here that I want you to take a look at.
By the way, isn't Morris like the assistant president to the university or something?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think John Morris.
John Morris is?
Yeah, he's like.
Well, I know he's a 2-time sports broadcaster of the year.
He's like the associate something. Like he carries some logos and some weight.
Wow.
But I'm sure Nick's doing a good job. I have not heard his call yet.
First year, apparently.
Yeah.
On the call.
9 games in, he said.
Yep. All right, Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. What to look for in the Utah-Baylor game? What does Utah need to do to get a W? We'll break it down next. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. The Cougars return home for a battle against TCU. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Utah Preview Show. Utah gets set for the Baylor Bears. All right, Hans, who is going to make you eat more Skyline chili dogs, Utah or BYU? Utah going up against Baylor, BYU against TCU.
I mean, it would be an easy call if I didn't just watch BYU put four sacks. And both of them are taking on immobile quarterbacks, guys that are just going to stand there. Hoover's probably a little bit more mobile than Sawyer, but not much. Utah's got the better front in pass rushing.
Yep.
BYU's got Jack Kelly, who, when he's sicked on a quarterback, he's going. Glasgow was great, too. Both Kelly and Glasgow was just incredible. Give me Utah.
All right. I think you're looking, I combined, I think you're looking at 7 dogs.
It's either 7 or 6.
Yeah.
And what was that?
Yeah, never mind. Sorry.
And I think I can get him. I think I can do it.
Will you make sure and film this, please?
I could do 6. I know I could eat 6 3-way.
There's no way.
Coney dogs.
Not in the state you're in right now.
You don't think?
No, dude, you've been look, had it been 3-4 years ago, you would have gone 6 and then said, all right, bring another 6. I just think
you would have went with the Costco 6.
Yeah.
I think I can get 6. I don't know about 7, but I could get 6.
Look, I hope you're right. And I hope you don't take this as a slight.
It may take me an hour. I'll sit there and eat them until I'm done.
Well, that's the thing. If you commit to doing something, you'll do it. Like, you're just in that personality. You're going to find a way to do it.
I just don't want to let down my sponsors, you know? If I pledge to do this, I mean, I'm doing it for charity. I don't want to let down the sponsors.
You got your fans to think of. Who wants to sponsor Hans eating Skyline chili dogs?
In the amount of sacks from BYU and Utah.
Do you get a per diem on that? Or do you just expense your meals? How's that going to work?
Per diem.
Okay.
Yeah. Per diem is the road to go.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, it's been such a beautiful thing to work for BYU. They are so good to me, man.
Yeah, they are. And it's rare. So embrace it.
Well, I mean, you're out there calling softball games, you know.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like those that one baseball and the 2 softball games I did for BYU, I could not believe how well we were treated. And that's just for baseball and softball. I can't imagine what it's like for football.
They're so good. Scott's my contact back there, and I'll send him expenses and invoice, and it's like he's like, got it. They're so good, man.
We have our company. We have a not Bonneville, not KSL, but there's a 3-week waiting period before they will process it.
No.
Yeah. So let's say I book a flight.
Well, but then you're getting interest attached, and things are hitting on credit cards. That's not cool.
They wait 3 weeks.
Do they cover interest?
No. You just have to submit them at the right time, or make your purchases at the right time.
Jeez. So
you get that money back in time. And I don't know if that's like a standard thing in the corporate world, but it drives me nuts. Yeah. Look, I love everything else about what I work with, but Learfield's 3-week payment policy.
No. We gotta up that.
And that's not, by the way, that's not Utah State. That's a Learfield thing.
So
all right, enough of my grievances.
I was listening to the Kyle Whittingham presser.
Yeah.
And he was talking about defensive to offensive snaps. Did you hear him talking about that with Lander Barton, Smith Snowden? It was a pretty good conversation because, I've been trying to make sense out of what the rotation is. He was talking about Lander Barton, 20 offensive snaps. And he kind of set the standard of what to expect from the defensive players and why we're not seeing as many snaps from guys like Smith Snowden. Here's Kyle Whittingham talking about it.
Snowden's has slowed down with the emergence of Daniel Bray. He's doing a lot of things that Smith did or was going to do. And so Daniel has really allowed us to let Smith focus more just on defense. Yeah, you'll see Lander continue to get some reps as a second tight end. You'll see Jackson Benny sprinkled in there, and you probably won't see much at all of Smith.
So, really...
By the way, I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, enough of that.
Let Smith just go be your best cover corner. And he loves the blocking, the durability of Lander. So, use Lander, but use him when you really need him. The problem is with rotating defenders, if I'm putting together a defensive scout and a defensive game plan based off of formation, unless Jason Beck, and I have not got that deep into study to understand formation, down and distance, and usage. I mean, that would take a lot of film study for me to understand it. But I can guarantee you Baylor's defensive coordinators and Baylor's defense has done the study. And so if you're putting Lander Barton on the field for 20 snaps, based on his lineup, his depth, and a handful of other things, I'm looking at it saying, okay, I've got an idea of what it's going to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if I see number 8 on the offensive side of the ball for Utah, and he goes in motion, and it's third down, I can at least give a projection of 60% of the time it's this.
Yeah.
And, you're in the defensive huddle, and you're seeing personnel alone. If number 8's just in the huddle, okay, it's 60% this on second down or 60% this on third down. Same with seeing number 2 or seeing anybody else in the huddle that's a defensive player on the offensive side of the ball. Now, I just know that from years and years of game planning. I guarantee you Jason Beck understands that even more deeply. So my guess is you've got a pretty heavy mix-up. So you're not tipping your hand to a defensive game plan, would be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
But now, being able to use Smith Snowden primarily defensively, using Benny still a little bit, but really the emergence of Daniel Bray, I actually think it's a better thing for the offense.
I do too. Just get back to look. Smith Snowden is going to make a lot of money in the National Football League playing defense. Let him focus on his craft.
Yeah.
Don't take away from what is the strength of your team right now with that defense and allow them to be at full strength. And in fact, I'm all for Lander Barton. Look, it was good to get the season started. I think they played a role. I'm all for just now make the separation clear for everybody. Mm-hmm. Keep Lander on defense. Keep Benny on defense.
Oh, you want that?
I would prefer that, yeah.
Smith Snowden, 9 PBUs, an interception, forces targets away from him. He's been really good.
Yes.
And you're right, NFL worthy. So let him do that.
When did grades start coming out on guys? End of year? Or are they starting to hit now?
No, I think it's end of year.
Okay.
I think it's end of year. It might be different for underclassmen.
Because Smith, this is his third year, right?
He's a junior.
Yeah, so he could make the jump if he wants to.
Yeah, he could. He could, depending on what the grade is.
Yeah.
Grade's got to be higher because
he's doing well at Utah.
I'm sure he's doing really well. But I don't mind it either. The other thought I had against this Baylor defense, I think Byrd Ficklin packages work well. Where Baylor's defense is giving up 178 yards a game on the ground, good enough to be 113th in Division I college football. It's not good.
Nope.
So giving up 178 yards on the ground. Byrd Ficklin packages are an obvious must.
Yeah.
I'm not saying take Devin Dampier completely out of the run game, but I'm kind of saying take Devin Dampier out of the run game.
Yeah.
Don't expose him to those extra hits.
No. You don't need to. Oh, jeez. All right. You're going to get a good dose of the Byrd, Lloyd.
Gosh, we got this. He does it this much, and Byrd's just a freshman, isn't he?
Yeah. Imagine what happens next year and the year after.
We're going to hear that.
You mean when he transfers?
Wow.
Byrd ain't transferred.
I'm just saying.
They're not
We
gonna
had already
let Byrd.
mentioned that agents are already interested.
Well, yeah. I mean, Kyle was like, hey, and that's the thing you worry about when you play young players and they're not full-time starters, but you just give them a package here and there. Byrd Ficklin blew up, and all of a sudden everybody's like, well, hey, get his agent on the line.
Yeah, you just go to Byrd Ficklin and be like, what do you want? You want to own the Hanson Planetarium? Is that what you want? Did you guys ever take dates?
Hanson Planetarium?
No, I did not take dates to the Hanson Planetarium.
You never
It's
took
the
it.
Clark Planetarium.
But I was
now.
living up in
Is it?
But I was living up in Logan, so I'm not driving all the way down there for a planetarium.
Well, it's going to be the Ficklin Planetarium.
You can have it. Go ahead, Byrd.
No, it was awesome. I thought it was awesome. They did laser light shows on the ceiling.
Yeah.
At 975
Still do.
Hands on Twitter.
Do they still do it?
They still do it to a little Led Zeppelin, I believe.
Well, it used to be Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah,
did Dark
Pink Floyd.
Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
And so I took 5 or 6 different
Oh,
dates.
I'm sure you did, because wherever there was a dark room, Hans was going to take a date to it.
Isn't that the truth?
Just look up.
Just look up.
Because it was all on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Just look up.
Yeah.
Shh.
I just
Nat.
see you putting your finger over their lips.
The lips and pushing it towards the ceiling.
Yeah.
Shh, just look over there.
It was a great date. So the Ficklin Planetarium
Thanks for bringing it back.
will be a fantastic addition to his real estate bankroll.
Yeah.
But no, you don't let
Okay,
Byrd.
get back to his usage.
You
Let's
don't
talk
let
more about
Byrd
his usage.
Ficklin go anywhere.
No.
19 of 31, 61.3% completion percentage for Byrd. That'll come up. Is he a true freshman?
Yes. Isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, he's true freshman.
Yeah, he's a true freshman. Out of Muskogee, Oklahoma. So, anyways, yeah, I put quite a bit on Byrd. You are, like I was just talking about, tipping the hand. If Byrd Ficklin, if you see number 15 run in,
You know what you're getting.
you're tipping your hand. But, okay, stop it.
Yeah.
Let's see you stop it.
Yeah. If you stop it, then okay. But I think 230 is the magic number in this one. I think Utah gets 230 yards rushing. in
Oh,
this
for
game.
sure. I take the over.
Yeah.
For sure. They got to go over 230 on him.
All right, we'll wrap up this bad boy coming up next. Hans and Scotty, your Ute Preview Show right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
Kyle Whittingham and the Utes hit the road to Waco for a showdown against Baylor. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up another edition of your Ute Preview Show right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, Hans, write the script for me. Utah, Baylor, on the road. I will go Utah 34, Baylor 14.
Yeah, that's pretty darn accurate, I think. I actually think that there's going to be a bit of an offensive explosion against this Baylor defense.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tip just into the 40s.
Okay.
So I'm going to go more 40-17. But still, wide margin of victory, a good old-fashioned thumping. I just want to see Utah continue to own both sides. And I want to see, is the injury report that was put out, is it correct? Do I have access to 2 other now defensive linemen?
Yeah. According to the injury report, you do.
What are you saying?
What do you mean? What am I saying? I mean, I'm saying, they are 1 or 2 D tackles away from going from the 66th best team in the country in run stop defense to saying, yeah, we decided we don't want to let you run, so
we're not going to do that.
We're going to go ahead and be a top 25 run stop defense. That's what I think. You've got the linebackers to move in and make those tackles. You just need some defensive linemen to rotate, be fresh, so your combos aren't working up front. So, if the injury reports are accurate, Utah is a team nobody wants to see.
Nope.
Period.
I think you have to assume they are accurate.
Oh, okay. So you're saying no funny business would be had.
Well, I don't think there's any funny business going on.
Kyle would never.
Nope.
Right.
Hey, comment here from Mark Harlan. In case you're just joining us, Mark Harlan, now the chairman of the College Football Playoff Committee, is stepped down. He's taking a leave of absence. He is the athletic director of Baylor. So they move up somebody on the committee to the chairman, and now Mark Harlan will serve on this year's College Football Playoff Committee. Mark Harlan, again, athletic director at University of Utah, quoted in saying, "I'm honored to be asked to step up and serve once again on the College Football Playoff Committee." I like how he say, once again. It's not my first rodeo on this committee. In this critical time in the season, though I wish it was under different circumstances, I have great respect for this committee's work and its members, as well as the CFP staff, and I look forward to contributing in the weeks ahead. So Mark Harlan coming in and serving on the College Football Playoff Committee, which I'm sure BYU fans are thrilled about.
Probably not. Yeah, probably not. I'd love to know the inside workings of it, how persuasive one of the 13 can be. There's 13 people, man. 13 people decide the fate of how college football plays off in the postseason.
Yeah. It's a lot of power.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
And that's just a lot of heat that I don't want.
I wouldn't want any part of it.
Unless they paid me handsomely.
And guess what? They don't. Now, you get to fly around first class and you get to go to a lot of cool places and eat some good meals, but I don't believe anybody is compensated.
Yeah, no thanks. Count me out.
I know the basketball committee doesn't get paid for it, so I would assume the same would hold true for the college football playoff. All right, that wraps it up for us. JJ and Alex coming up next. Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard tomorrow. It's a Football Friday with Alema Harrington and Ron McBride right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.